Hi guys, so our next art project we're going to use glass jars. So now is your time to collect, go to your recycling bin, take out your empty jars, any size you want, all different sizes, and any empty tins. So it can be a tin of beans, tin of custard, an old tin, wash it out and have it ready. So I have to prepare these because I have to take the labels off them before we start. And then what we use is tissues, like old napkins you have in the house. That's a little napkin, which is quite nice. And this here one, which is a lovely napkin. And this is another napkin, no picture on it, just a pattern. So that's lovely as well. So we'll open those up. And what we basically do is we wrap them in the jar and we glue them. So, and they are beautiful, great for holding different. We'll look at that when I have it all finished. And there's more tissue paper as well that I have found that we had in the cupboard here. And then if you want, you can add little things to it. So if you have anything to add, a bit of ribbon, and then a bit of sparkle, found those wee jewels as well. So you need your empty jars and tins out of the recycling bin, a couple of napkins, and if you want, you can use some wire. This wire is good for at the end if you want to hang your jars up or anything like that. Okay, so that's you. Your PVA glue, of course, and your paintbrush or whatever you want to use, a sponge or whatever you want to use. So empty tins, empty jars, napkins, glue, and we're ready to rock and roll. So I washed all my jars with just hot water and soap and got them scrubbed down and took all the labels off them so they're nice and clean now. I've picked the sort of tissue I want to put on them, so that's a little bit of tissue paper. This one I haven't tried before, so I'm going to have a go with that today. So, and then I have napkins as well if I want to use those. So I'll give you an example of how this works. So this was an old glass vase that somebody was thrown out, vase. And I had lovely material, just a little square material, and I put it on it and glued it on. And then once it dried, I put glue over it again, and it's left nice and hard. So it's really turned out quite nice, and I just use it for storage at home. And it's quite colourful, so that's one. This one here was just a wee tin of coffee. So again, I just covered it with a napkin, and it's quite nice as well and adds a bit of colour. And then other things I've done is a little bit of material. This is off a little dress that I had that I no longer fit into. And I love the material, so I just put a little bit on that, and that can be hung in the tree in spring. It just adds a bit of colour to the garden too. So there we go, that's what we're aiming to do, something like that. So I haven't used this tissue paper before. It's very fine, so I turn it over and I just paste, can you see that there? I just paste the jar all over with glue, keeping my fingers inside the jar. There we go. And I'll just do it up to the neck, to where the top goes on, so that we can cover that as well. A wee sponge, if you don't have one of these sponge things, a sponge that you use for washing the dishes can be set aside, and now it can become your new glue sponge. Or whatever, if you have paintbrush too, keep a glue brush. So there we go, that's covered, isn't it? I'm going to put a wee drop at the bottom for my edges. There we are. Now we're flying. Just make sure there's enough at the top to cover that little top bit, and there we go. How easy is that? And we just wrap it around. It's quite pretty, isn't it? So what could you use these jars for? Keeping things tidy, for your pens, pencils, paintbrushes, all those sorts of things. We'll just cut that wee bit off there. You could also cover a little jar, and as it's coming up to Valentine's Day next week, you could, and then we put a wee coat on, you could fill it with little sweeties or chocolate hearts. Again, put your fingers inside the jar to hold it and paste it again. There we go. And it's Easter as well. It's a nice time of year to give people a little gift. So you can get these things ready and have them ready. And then how easy is that to push that in? Get a bit of fluff on the finger. There we go. Dab it all in. Sometimes when you're working with tissue and glue, it can rip and tear. But you know what? You can patch so easy with this. It's great. Plenty glue on. Oops, just take that out. There we go. And today is very rainy here, so this is a great thing to do when a day is grey and raining. Get a bit of music going, and there we go. So we'll just set that on the radiator to dry. And here's one I did earlier. And it's a lovely napkin of a bicycle. It's really sweet. And that's it, dried and all, nearly, almost dried. And there's the lid I've done. So you just cover the lid the same. A couple of my hairs attached to that. And then you can pop that on. Now how sweet is that? Isn't that lovely? So again, you can store something in it. Cotton wool in your dresser. Anything like that. Just remove a couple of my hairs there. So anything like that. So we'll just show you that. The other thing, of course, you can do is this. You have a little candle. I never use ordinary candles in my house because they're too dangerous now. I'm very forgetful. So just pop that in. Oops. Get it to go flat. There we go. It's inside, and put the lid on. And how sweet is that when you have the lights turned out? A few of those in a line. Isn't that lovely? So you can do that as well with it. Obviously you can keep it as a little vase for flowers. So there's any number of things you can do with these. And they're great fun. And there's no end to what you can do. Cover the material, covering them with tissue papers, napkins, whatever. So I'll leave that one to just finish off drying properly. And then the other thing I've discovered is this sticky back material. So I might, and it's quite nice, it's very springy looking, it's little flowers on it and little butterflies. So I'm going to try it on this jar. I'm sure people are watching this going, I could do that better. And I'm sure you could. So that was a little tiny jar, so this is quite sweet. I know who'd like this. I think Fiona would like this, she likes sweet things. So there we go, that's it on. In fact, I'm falling in love with this. So we just cut that up as well. Oops. No, it's not going to cut. My, oops, scissors got cut. Do you know what? We'll just wrap her on round. Now, how sweet is this going to be? This is going to be gorgeous. And it's really, really sticky paper as well. It's like a material, this, with a sticky back on it. Cute is that. If I could ever get it opened and finished. So I'm going to work on this. I'm going to show you the final piece, and I'll cover the lid in the same material as well. So there we go, guys. So all these different things you can do. There's my napkin in the tin there. Another little one there. So you've seen all those. So there's no end of what you can do. And then, of course, let them dry and do your lids. Okay? And I'll finish this boy because this boy's going to give me trouble. And I'll get back to you. Bye!